Hello each and every one of you. I am the Dancer Life Dancer, and here today, since we've had the big season starter dance, and it was Saturday the 4th. This is the preseason opener. Since we've had that, I'm going to talk a little bit about secrets of dance. My secrets of dance, which up until now I've not actually revealed a whole lot of it. But how do I do a 6-hour show? Some people ask me, how do I do a 3-hour show? How do I do a 6-hour show? I'll tell you. At the end of every season, at the beginning of every season, let's start at the beginning, I have to work myself up, if you understand what I mean. I have to condition myself to prepare myself to dance that long. Conditioning myself is doing programs like what I did yesterday, and dance. And yesterday was a pretty hard one. Yesterday is what I call non-stop dance. It's absolutely the hardest kind there is. Non-stop dance is the hardest kind there is. That's when they, most of my programs, they have a concert, they get 45 minutes, they do a song, they talk about another song, then they do another song, they talk about another song, then they do another song, which there's like a minute and a half, 2 minutes in between that, which makes a great big difference. Back to back is when they do it non-stop for an hour. That's the worst kind. That is really hard to do. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that as the Dancer Life, I'll tell you that. But anyway, I've got to condition myself for this by doing those dances and, getting exercising and eating better and that kind of stuff. Yes, I have to do that kind of stuff. And it's not easy. When you first start that, I started up in March. Actually started in February and March. When you come back off of a dance like I did yesterday, especially back to back like that, you're going to have sore feet. If you ever talk to a dancer, they're all going to tell you the same. You're going to have sore feet. I'm no different. You have sore feet, you're going to feel cramps, you're going to feel pain, you're going to feel sick. All of that stuff, hey, I'm no different than any other dancer. I feel all of that stuff the same way. However, like yesterday when I did that program, here's the big no-no, here's the big difference. Okay, most people when they dance that first time, most people wouldn't last past the first 3 dances, 3 songs. Then they'd sit down. But okay, I don't sit down. Okay, here's part of the secret. Number 1, when I get there, don't intend on sitting down. I mean, after that hour of dance and all that stuff, even back to back like that, your tendency is going to be want to go sit down for a few minutes and then get back up again, right? Think that's going to help a little bit, right? Wrong. It's the worst thing you could do. I know that anxiety, that's I want to sit down just a few minutes, that's going to help me. It's not going to help you, trust me. I know. It's not going to help you. You go there and you sit down 5 minutes, when you get back up out of that, you're going to be 3 times harder getting back into that, if you can at all. First thing to do is, don't bring a chair, don't intend on no sitting down. If you know what I mean. Don't intend on sitting down in that chair. That's the worst thing you could do. That's the first thing I have to do. Condition myself takes quite a while. I mean, I don't just go jumping into it, and just start to dance each and every day. Back in June and July is every day. I have to build up to that. Then when the end of the season comes, September, I go back down again. And I have to recondition myself at the beginning. I have to do that beginning of end of every single season. I don't just jump into it. Another thing, the trick to some of my dances and stuff. I can dance down to 10 degrees or up to 113. I've done it. But here's the thing. Yes, there is secrets to dancing at 113. There is secrets to dancing in 10. But here's my one program that I'm going to tell you. if you're out there in 110 degrees, you're dancing, and like I have been, here's how I do it. Here's how it works for me. I don't, just go from a cold house. You don't go from a cold house, air conditioner or whatever, out to a hot place out there. How I do it, I leave in that car, go up there. I don't turn on any air conditioner. I don't turn on anything. I go straight, let it cool down slowly. Let it heat up slowly. When I get there, I don't go in no air conditioned things. No air conditioning, no cool places. I stay hot. I stay warm the whole time from the time I leave this house to the time I leave there. When I'm done with there, and I leave there after the program's over, I do not do it either. I don't come back home. I gradually warm up. Cool down, if you know what I mean. If you do it the other way, you go from 113, you go from a cold place and dance out to 113, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be on the floor. Same way goes for cold. I mean, don't go from a hot place to a cold place. The shock of that's going to knock you down. Trust me, I know. That's one secret. I can take it down to 10 degrees, gradually. And a lot of people say, I do it 6 hours with the dance, and that's straight dance. I did it yesterday. It was hard. Yeah, there's some secrets to how I did it too. I mean, I have secrets that I've never revealed how I do that dance that long. And it wasn't easy. You have to have the passion to do it. That's number one. That's one of the secrets right there. Gotta have the passion. You gotta have passion to do that. You know what I mean? You got to have passion. Number two, part of the secrets that I've not revealed before, is number one, even when you're dancing back to back to back to back, when I'm out there on that floor, do that dance. Now, the way I do some of them, you know what I mean? I have props, I have stuff that I use, scarves, umbrellas, whatever, A lot of those dances might seem harder than they are. Like, when I lift my leg in the air, now that's not easy right there. But my idea is to keep people's attention on my upper. Meaning, when I wave the scarves around and the fans and all that stuff, the idea is to keep people focused up here where I've got the scarves and everything. And basic kind of dance, when you dance wiggle waggle, sort of like this, like this. Then you put the scarves up like this, or you put your leg on like this, add a little extra to it. It's quite a lot easier than you think, because you're just doing a basic wiggle and spin. Basic. It's not that hard. It's not that tiresome. That's what part of the secret I use when I get real tired. You know what I mean? I'll do that, and I'll focus up here on the scarves, on the whatever I have, the umbrellas, the birds, and it'll turn an ordinary dance into a beautiful one, if you know what I mean. That's basic secret right there. You do that, you know what I mean? You could do every song. That's how most of the time I do every song. And in between the dance, I might add a fancy move to it. Then the next one, I might do all fancy. But like I said, it's not easy. But some of the dances are easier than they look. I mean, if you do that basic, back and forth and spin, it's not that hard. Doesn't take that much. I can stand up to 3 hours doing that. But I add some fancy to it, and if they say bird, I'll bring the bird out or whatever, and I keep going with that. That's how I do part of that. The other thing, the secret is, when I say, now a concert that's back to back is real hard. That's the worst kind. The other part of it is, when I go to a concert and they play a song Then they talk about it for a minute and a half or 2 minutes. Then they play another one. And get the idea. If anybody's out there been to a concert, you know what I'm talking about. That minute to minute and a half makes a big difference. It really does. It makes a great big difference. Big difference. Because if you count that out, they play 10 songs, minute and a half each. But that's almost 14 minutes of rest time. If you don't realize that. I mean, you can stand there, wait for the next song, concentrate on the next song. That's a rest time. You wouldn't think that would make any difference, but it really does. It does make a difference. Now, on this straight ones, like they did yesterday, I call it straight. That means back to back to back. That's the worst kind. It's even hard for me. But that's when I throw in some of my simple dances mixed in with keeping you concentrated up here with my scarves and whatever I happen to have. That's part of the secret to that. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you get done with that, you're going to have sore feet. You're going to have sore hands. You're going to have cramps in here. I have cramps in here. I have bellyache. I got everything the other dancers have. I'm no exception. I have it more because I dance longer. But I got all that too, and I got to get back up the next day. You might want to think, well, when you have sore feet and all this, what's the first thing you do when you get back home? Prop your feet up on the chair, take some Tylenol, and put your feet in hot water? Do you think that's the answer? I can tell you it isn't. You do that, guess what? You ain't going to do it the next day. You are not going to dance the next day if you do that. That's the worst thing you can do, is to sit there and put your feet in hot water and take Tylenol. That's the worst. What do? You sit there and you keep walking up and down, get on the exercise bike. Yeah, the exercise bike. Even if you get on it for a couple of minutes. You exercise these feet. You don't sit down in a chair like this and put your feet up on the stool and put the hot water there. If you do that, forget about dancing the next day or next week, because you ain't going to be able to. It's another secret. This is some of my secrets to how I do this stuff I've never told anybody about. I mean, the other big secret is you got to want to do this. You got to have the passion for it. You got to have the belief in it. You got to want this. You have to want to do this, to go to bed sore, have sleepless nights, to have your feet hurt so much you can't walk. You got to want this. You got to have a passion for it. You got to be this. You know what I mean? You got to be the dancer. You have to reach out and you have to be it. You can't just sit there and not want it and half-heartedly, because if you do that, forget it. Don't do it. You know, I put my all into this. You got to put your all into this. All your energy, you got to put it all into this, because if you don't, forget it. Don't even try it. That's just some of my little secrets that I use to do this dancing and stuff. The other one is you got to have a remarkable amount of energy, which I have most of the time. And you just got to keep going, if you know what I mean. I've danced when I was sick. I've danced when most people would stay in bed with the thermometer and the doctor. I've danced with my arm broke. I've danced with feet so sore you couldn't walk on them. So sick I couldn't stand up. But yet, you want to know something? Most of those people out there would never know I was sick. Never know it because of the way I did it. There's a way to dance sick. Same way I told you to dance when you dance back to back to back. I mean, you could do the basic wiggle like this, you know what I mean? And a basic spin. Keep the focus up here, if you know what I mean, on your scarves and all that stuff, whatever you got. Do a whole bunch of fancy stuff with that. Don't let them see down here. Don't have them concentrate on what you're doing down there. And it's easy. It's not that easy, but it is easier. Sit there and I could do that for 5 hours. But that's part of the secrets to how I do the dance. Is it the same? Yes. I mean, it's still a fancy dance. It's still beautiful. Still interpretive dance. It's just when you have that time and you don't feel like it, that's the way you do it. That's why I do it. Anyway, this is Talking with Susan, Dance to Life. Some of my secrets to how I do this, since the New season's coming up. And we had our first one yesterday. I thought I'd share some of this with you. So, right now I'm going to let you go because I want to get something to eat here. And I'll talk to you later. And remember that's just a few secrets to how this is done. I mean, this isn't easy. I walk in with sore feet. I don't feel like getting sick. Sometimes I get sick this way. I got all the same symptoms the other ones do. Then you ain't got to talk to a dancer that doesn't have sore feet. They can't walk. They get cramps in their legs. They all have them. I have the same thing. The only thing is I have more passion for my dance than that sore foot. That's a big secret right there. Thank you for joining me this night. And I will see you later. Good night.